welcome here to a very special edition of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. As you know, our series with the East Carolina Pirates football program is called Pirates on Call. A very easy way to remind you that the ECU Pirates are here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. I'm honored and very thankful for the opportunity to speak with starting quarterback of the ECU Pirates here in the 2024-25 season, and that being Jake Garcia. Jake, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. It's my honor and my privilege to have you here on the show. So, Jake, first and foremost, I know that you originally had committed to and went over to Miami for a couple seasons, and then you made the decision to go over to Missouri and ultimately end up at East Carolina. Bring me through your journey to where you are today, because yours is one that used to be atypical. Now with the transfer portal, it's a lot easier to do it, but just bring me into Miami to Missouri to eventually East Carolina.
Yeah, so started over at Miami, did 2 years over there. Got to play in one game my freshman year. Went out there, and this is when De'Aaron King was a starter. He had broke his collarbone, so the next week, go out there and compete for the job and pull the ball in his own read and ran for about 50. Got tackled. And had 5 torn ligaments in my ankle. So that was in the second quarter. Went to halftime, played the rest of the game. Had a good day, and then got back to the dorms and couldn't walk at all. So that was the end of my season right there. My second year, backed up, coming off of surgery, backed up, and got to play in quite a few games. Got one start over at Virginia. Won that in, I want to say, like 4 overtimes. It was crazy. But then, it was a really good learning experience. But we had got a new staff in between, right after my freshman year. So ended up sitting in for a year, try to get in with the new staff, and it just kind of wasn't my style as far as the offense goes. So I ended up going over to Missouri and got to be a part of that. Went to the Cotton Bowl. Didn't take a snap. Personally, I didn't take a snap, but I just tried to do my job, and that was play my role. So do whatever I can to help Brady Cook, who was the starter over there and still is, and just try to do whatever I can to make the team better. And I feel like in that year, I really mentally prepared every day, came with a good attitude, a good mindset, and just try to pull my weight that I could. So then moving forward, we got basically they came out with a rule to where you can make another move. And I was stuck in between. I was like, oh man, like it's been a while, and I'm like, man, I've been preparing. I've been physically and mentally preparing, and I want this opportunity. So got in contact. Coach Baker contacted me, and I'm over here at East Carolina. So it's a great opportunity. I'm blessed for this opportunity, and just super thankful for the coaching staff here and to my teammates for embracing me with open arms.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, trying to make this decision and trying to figure it out. What spoke to you about East Carolina? What made you believe in this Pirates team? They had some success, and then last season they finished the season 2-10. So, what was it about them that made you believe, hey, there's something here, there's something I can work with? Why East Carolina?
Yeah, when you look at the games from last year, there's quite a few games that definitely could have went the other way, where we could have been winning and could have walked away with the win. But I mean, we just didn't find a way to get it done, and they were close games. So I mean, there was a lot of potential here. The defense was great last year, and you have a lot of guys coming back, and I mean, with the new system that we have with Coach Baker, I felt like I could really thrive in this offense and something that I would be comfortable in. So with Coach Baker over here, I mean, it felt right. It felt right. When I talked to Coach Houston, really liked Coach Houston, liked the everything they had to say, and really just he told me that I had a fair opportunity. I would come here and I'd have a fair shot. So that's all I could ask for is an opportunity, and I just try to jump on it. So yeah, I mean, we have the pieces in place. We have the pieces in place offensively, defensively, special teams wise. We just have to come together and put it all together. just keep growing together as a group. The glue has to be stronger within our group each and every day. So there's a lot of potential.
Yeah, you keep mentioning Coach Baker, the offensive coordinator, and the quarterbacks coach, John David Baker of the East Carolina Pirates. You said his offense, just you believe that, you could have success here, success in what he was doing. You had to believe from the outside looking in when you were in the transfer portal. Now it's you could say, oh, well, this works, and I like this because you've been physically in it. But when you weren't in it and you were just talking to John David Baker about it, what was it about his message, the way that he came across, his personality, that made you believe without originally seeing? Because at that point, you had to have a lot of faith in him, which is belief without sight.
Right. No. Yeah, definitely. That's a really good point that you bring up, and I know that it's Coach Baker's first year as an OC, but we had conversations on the phone about what he would be wanting to run, how he would run it, and just really like what he wants the identity to be. When we discussed that, and he was just kind of telling me, I'm familiar with Coach Baker as well. I've known him probably since my freshman or sophomore year at high school when he was over at USC. So there's familiarity there, which made me also feel comfortable. But a lot of stuff that we're doing, it's an up-tempo offense. So, I look at Ole Miss, and my freshman year of high school, I backed up Matt Corral, who was at Ole Miss, right, for a couple of years, and then played really, really well. So I got to watch him develop and grow as a quarterback, and when he was over at Ole Miss, and I would always watch the games. Just watching those games, I was like, that looks like a lot of fun, man. I'm in high school still, and I'm like, that looks like a lot of fun. That's an offense that I would definitely want to play in. Something like that where it's up-tempo and we're getting the ball in space now. There's a lot of decisions for the quarterback. So when I was hearing that Coach Baker was coming over here and we had conversations, he was telling me that that's basically what it would be, is that up-tempo, hurry-up offense where we're getting the ball in space, getting the ball in our playmakers' hands, reading the box. So then it's a good box. We can give the ball off to the back to get the ball in space now, and the quarterback has a lot of decisions on every play, but answers for everything. So that's what really made me feel comfortable, and I would really say that the biggest part of it was kind of watching Matt Corral over at Ole Miss and what he got to do.
And like you said, knowing Matt Corral and being in high school, having that connection, seeing him go to Ole Miss, and then seeing what John David Baker did with him at Ole Miss. This is essentially, it shows two things. It shows, one, that you are playing the long game, whether you knew it or not, and it also shows how small the world of sports truly is, that you're connected with Matt Corral, you guys know each other, you see him go off to Ole Miss, you love the offense he's in, John David Baker is running that offense, and then you come into college, you go to Miami, you go to Missouri, then John David Baker leaves Ole Miss and goes off to East Carolina, and you say to yourself, well, I like what he did when he was at Ole Miss with my guy Matt Corral. Let me see what he's got going here. How crazy is that the kid in you saw something in John David Baker's offense, and now the young adult in you, the young man in you, is now playing in that offense?
It's amazing. It's amazing, man. I would say that you got to keep good relationships with everybody, right? You brought up a good point that it's a small world, man. It's a small world, and you never know where people end up and the connections that you make along the way. Starting, when you're in high school, and it started for me when I was a freshman or sophomore in high school with Coach Baker. So just keeping a good relationship there. It's important. It's really, really important. And at the end of the day, you want to be. I consider myself a people person, to where I can communicate with people and have a good time just enjoying somebody's company and somebody's presence and chopping it up with them, especially about football. So, just keeping a good relationship with everybody, and now it comes back full circle, and I'm here living it every day. So it's super exciting, and I can't wait for this offense to take off, man. It's going to take off. This offense is going to take off, and we're going to be putting the ball in space now and have a lot of explosives.
Yeah, you talk about explosiveness. I'm here with Jake Garcia in this edition of Pirates on Call, our signature series with the East Carolina Pirates football program here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You talk about this offense and what it can be. I spoke with your lead back, Harris, going into the season, and we got to talk about how he views some things. Love him as a person beyond football. And I know you have Wright, you have Kelly, you got a bunch of different weapons here. I've seen throughout history, and some people don't know this, but there was a time where an East Carolina Pirate led the entire nation in career receiving yards, and then the only person to beat out that Pirate was another Pirate. And one of them, I've gotten to build a really great relationship over the years. He's got a strong faith in God, and we met in the NFL as Zay Jones. So what can you say to me about being a quarterback of a program that has had some really electrifying receivers that have led the country in career receiving yards, led the history of college football? What does that mean to you, and what type of weapons do you have now?
Yeah, definitely. Those guys paved the way for us, man. Those guys paved the way for us. I mean, records are meant to be broken, right? And I think that we have the group. I know that we have the group to do that. So, I mean, it's just about executing each and every day, each and every play, and treat each play as its own. But I mean, this group is a special group, man. Our receiver group is a very special group who has all the ability to be able to break those records. And I think just go out there and make explosive plays. I mean, I get the ball to them in space and on a 5-yard hitch and make one person miss, and now they're off to the races. These guys can run. I'm telling you that these guys can run. So, yeah, I mean, we have playmakers that when you have the ball in their hands, they're going to do something with them. They're special with the ball in their hands. And each and every receiver has their strengths, and I feel like every receiver in our room, strength is explosiveness. Being able to, again, get the ball to them quickly on the perimeter and do something with it.
Yeah, and I wanna give respect to, I mentioned Zay Jones, and he is second to Justin Hardy. I want to make sure I mention Justin Hardy, who is still fourth all-time of career receiving leaders in the history of FBS college football with 4,541. Do any of your receivers on the team currently right now kind of nudge you, Jake, and say, why don't you help a brother out a little bit?
You know, receivers are like little puppies, man. They see the ball, they want the ball. So, I mean, I say it's everybody. But, I mean, you have certain guys that definitely carry themselves with that as they take the field, and they're like, hey, like, just know I'm always open, like I'm Waffle House, or like that type of deal, like I'm always open. But I wouldn't say that we have the selfishness on the team that can come with that when you have a lot of guys that can make plays. Sometimes when you have that, you have selfishness, and it ends up taking away from the team. But I wouldn't say that we have that, and everybody's been doing a good job. And I mean, as long as you're winning, everybody's good. And when, like last week, we didn't pull it off, I feel like everybody handled it really mature. And we're coming back to work this week, and ready to go again.
Final two notes, second to last one for you, Jake, is getting out to victory 42-3 over Norfolk State at home. Road win 20-14 against Old Dominion, who's played spoiler to teams in the not too distant past, and then Appalachian State, who has also been a team that plays spoiler, a 2-point loss, 21-19. What have you learned about the team in these first three games? I know you said that the team's response has been good to that 2-point loss, but you got Liberty on the road. They have been a fantastic team. It doesn't matter who their head coach is. It doesn't matter who the personnel is. Liberty has found a way to sustain success as an independent and now inside of a conference. So takeaways from the first three games and thoughts on Liberty.
I would say that this group is a group full of fighters. We want to keep our glue, like Coach Houston says, our glue has to be stronger than the other teams. And that's within our relationships as on and off the field, right? That's the way that you build that glue. But I would say really that this group is a bunch of fighters. they want to win, and I don't think that this group is at all reflective of what happened last year. And everybody talks about last year, but I don't think that this group reflects that at all. I would say that this group, they're ready to win. And I think sometimes when you have a group of guys that came off of a bad season, they can maybe, in a sense, just feel like they don't know how to win, right? But I think that this group definitely, we know how to win. And we're doing everything that we can. We have great leadership on this team, and guys that are pulling us in the right direction, and making sure that everybody's on track. So, yeah, I mean, that's really what I feel like I found out about this team, is that we have a bunch of fighters, man. We're going to fight to the end and do a great job picking each other up on both sides of the ball and with special teams, and we just have to keep playing complementary football. So just feed off of each other's energy, and when the defense gets a stop, offense has to go out there and capitalize, and the defense, I know they're going to get the ball back for us.
So my last note for you, Jake, is tell us something about Jake Garcia that's non-football related, something that you think is a nice little nugget to know. Who is Jake Garcia? Tell us something outside of football.
Man, you surprised me with this one right here. I would say that I'm very family oriented. I have an amazing support group, and I always have had an amazing support group around me. And my parents are out here in Greenville, living out here, and they're at the games all the time. They're traveling for the games. Love my parents to death, and just like the amount of support that I have, it's unmatched, man. It's amazing. And those are people that I can always call, always fall back on. But I mean, just staying close to my family is really big for me. I have a about to be 1-year-old daughter, and I feel like that really kind of put things into perspective for me about there's a bigger picture than just ball, and I feel like that gives me a good mindset. I feel like it gives me clarity when I come into practice every day and to work every day. Is hey, like, you're doing this for a bigger purpose. So I mean, I feel like that's what really keeps me going every day, and I can't wait to do this the rest of the year.
What's your daughter's first name?
Milani.
Milani?
Yes, sir.
Well, shout out to Milani, and sounds like Dad's got a good head on his shoulders. I know you're from California, so the fact that Mom and Dad are out in Greenville, North Carolina, says a lot about your family, says a lot about support, says a lot about actions speaking louder than words. So I hope that you go out there and continue to remember the support that you have and the love that you have. And beyond everything, Jake, I think you understand that touchdowns are great and wins are great, but being a good role model and a good father takes precedence over all of that. So shout out to Jake Garcia on and off the field.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you for your time.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me on.